朋友们，你们表现不错啊。For all the gaming that happens here, my son's Chinese certainly, and not mine, is improving. Thanks, Audrey. Welcome back to our Citi Market Watch series. This is episode 7, part 2 of a deeper dive into the digital world. In the previous episode, we highlighted the importance of singularity, where technology is simply better, faster, and cheaper. The trinity of artificial intelligence, the harmony and harnessing of big data, computing power, and connectivity, all made possible by the advances in semiconductors, the cloud, and 5G. In this episode, we want to pull the covers back and look at the fascinating world of eSports and touch on cybersecurity. In an increasingly digital world, Audrey, I almost feel too old for this, but when I think of sports, I'm thinking about real physical activity. Some version of blood, sweat, and tears, the Olympic Games, amazing physical feats and achievements. What am I missing?
Well, son, don't misunderstand the intensity of esports athletes. Professional esports teams train up to 8 hours a day, have coaches, trainers, nutritionists, and they get paid impressive salaries like any pro sports league. Now, in the US, there's about 130 colleges with esports teams or programs. Esports athletes have reflexes of a soccer goalie, the touch of a fly fisherman, and the mind of jazz musician. And look out for it, esports is making its debut at the Tokyo Olympics.
Really? You're still not convincing me.
Well, maybe you could be a bit cynical about how you may stereotype gamers, and they often do suffer from retina fatigue and carpal tunnel syndrome. But even now, think of esports in the context of VR or virtual reality. A good example would be zero latency. The physical challenge here is very real.
Indeed. Either way, I am impressed, and I can't get my head around the numbers. To mark its debut, the Fortnite World Cup in 2019 had a prize pool of $100 million US. For context, that's larger than the US Tennis Open, Wimbledon, and the US Masters combined. The global esports audience has grown to 474 million this year, with live streaming estimated at around 728 million viewers. Singapore recently hosted the Free Fire World Series at Marina Bay Sands, which was the most watched esports event to date, with 5.4 million peak viewers. The pandemic has confined people to their homes, and hence streaming platforms like Twitch, YouTube, and Huya have seen activity accelerate and grow enormously. Twitch captures the bulk of the live streaming viewership, while YouTube Gaming captures recorded esports content. Huya is the leading live streaming gaming platform in China. Post-pandemic, Twitch viewership has continued to rise. The most recent May data reflecting 2.31 billion hours of watched time. The esports audience is now larger than all other major sports leagues, from basketball to football. Esports viewers are also more global, with more than half from Asia, and almost 80% are under 35 years old. China alone is now the largest esports market and contributes over 1/3 of global game revenue. Twitch and YouTube have larger audiences for gaming than Netflix, HBO, and ESPN combined.
Why has gaming been so successful? Well, eGaming is inexpensive entertainment when compared to cable TV, or even the average per hour cost of movies or live concerts. Importantly, eGaming or esports has been very quick to adapt to the changing landscape. Traditionally, e-games were constrained to consoles and or PCs, and they were typically single player. But this has now gone viral into the cloud. It is multiplayer, and most importantly, it's on everyone's mobile phones. Now, from being almost non-existent a decade ago, mobile e-gaming now commands the majority of the e-gaming market. In addition, e-gaming platforms like Roblox offer not just development, creation, and exploration of e-games, but it is also a platform to attend concerts, shows, and even host your own birthday party. Travis Scott drew 27 million viewers to his Fortnite concert last year. BTS debuted their hit song Dynamite on Fortnite, which garnered over 100 million viewers. And perhaps best of all, we had the One World Together at Home benefit concert last year, which raised a record of $127 million with more than 217 million people tuned in. The concert was supported and streamed through the Roblox platform.
It certainly looks like this fusion of e-games, video, and music is set to continue to create even more opportunities as content makers merge and collaborate with established and active customer bases. Just like a Steven Spielberg movie, in time, we don't have to watch action thriller movies. We can probably be the lead character and live it. E-games is currently a 189 billion US dollar industry, whilst eSports is currently at 1.5 billion, driven by sponsorships, media rights, advertising, and merchandise. Esports grew 50% last year. Audrey, aside from being cheaper and increasingly at our fingertips, I think we are still missing something here.
Well, one thing the pandemic has done is that it has really normalized meeting online. It has really turned the stigma of work from home on its head. But more importantly, it fundamentally reinforces the truth that as humans, we need connections with each other, with family, friends, and community. It's one reason why these platforms and also dating apps, for example, have been so successful. In fact, dating apps that have been led by pioneering women like Whitney Wolfe Herd have reinforced how a more empowered, kinder, or just platonic focus can be so amazingly successful. This is also a really rich illustration of diversity and inclusion, or rather the S in ESG.
Audrey, as everything gets more digital and especially hyper-connected, how should we be thinking about cybersecurity?
Good point. This is almost like not understanding that climate change is real and that the weather is getting worse and volatile and that sea levels are rising. And if we aren't trying either to reverse or prevent it, we at least should have an emergency preparation plan. Cyber attacks are on the rise, and aside from the many high-profile attacks like the Colonial Pipeline ransomware attack and SolarWinds hack, scams of all sorts are rising significantly. Ensuring and being conscious of cybersecurity is important. Although China has been in the news lately as markets have sold off due to new regulations, this was partly driven by China's concern about cybersecurity and ensuring that in an increasingly digitized economy, it is important that internet and tech companies protect the massive amounts of user data they possess and manage. In line with digital growth, the cybersecurity market and solutions is expected to see continued significant growth.
Digitization has only just started, and the transformation we are bearing witness to across so many industries is truly amazing. In these last two episodes, we have only covered key concepts around what's driving digitization and touched on e-gaming and esports as a more innocuous but rapidly growing part of the digital world. On this note, Citi, in partnership with MasterCard, will be hosting an esports virtual meetup later this month, where we will again help to shed more light on this ecosystem. Key personalities from Singapore's esports industry, esports association, and teams will be speaking. Please look out for the invitation and register for this exciting event. Thank you again for tuning in to Citi Market Watch. For more opportunities, please contact your Citigold or Citigold Private Client Relationship Manager.